Hello, folks. I have a very special friend from the other side who kind of just dropped in randomly. Um, Literally like 10 minutes ago, this just happened to me. So the oversoul, the spirit, but mainly the oversoul of Kobe Bryant just popped in. And what happened was I was just, scrolling down my Instagram feed, and there's like, an interview clip of him. And I was like, I just love his energy and like that whole Mamba mentality he's about. And then the oversoul energy synced in, and I started asking questions like, how are you that devoted? Like, how are you that disciplined in your craft? And I was literally getting ready to go to the gym, and I was like, I wish I could be that disciplined when it comes to exercise. Like, it's just something that for me it's not something that I enjoy. And so something really interesting that Kobe's oversoul pointed out to me was, that's a lie. You are devoted. You're one of the most devoted souls on the planet for your craft. And what the link is, devotion comes from love. When you love something, when you are doing something that is a part of your soul's expression. And so what Kobe is even coming in and saying now is like, what other people perceived to be discipline or like this intensity or like this radical commitment was simply because he loved the game of basketball. He loved the game of like setting a goal for himself and training to actualize that goal. And so they make this connection for me with the gym where it's like, no, you don't love working out, but you love being on this planet and being a teacher. And that's just one element of it that's just going to empower you to be holistically empowered in that role. So don't think about, it's almost like when you connect what you love to maybe the everyday physical things we have to do, you're able to do it. You're able to commit because you're anchored in a bigger purpose, a bigger reason. And okay, so Kobe is talking about why a lot of people lack discipline and devotion or like this relentless commitment to making something happen is because it's not coming from their soul, it's coming from their ego. And so how many times have you started a project, he's saying, and in the beginning, you were hyped up, you were amped up, it was great, you were so ready to like put everything into it. And then for whatever reason, the energetic momentum, the excitement just faded. Because on some level, maybe you were doing it because you were thinking about how much money you were going to make. Maybe you were doing it because you were trying to force something into being based on success that you saw somebody else having with it. All these reasons as to why our ego might manipulate us into doing something. You have to be anchored in a purpose and a love that's greater than just money or greater than fame or greater than being seen. It has to be something that he's showing me, like, if nobody was watching, you would still do this thing. If you didn't make any money, you would still do this thing. If you don't have that as your anchor in your life, you won't ever commit to anything. And he's talking about this Mamba mentality that he had. He is a light worker. He's showing me that he was here as a light worker. And basketball was more so the avenue that his soul chose to exemplify certain things. But it applies across for any soul, he's saying. When you come here, when you are living in love every single day through being committed to a higher purpose that's bigger than yourself, because he's saying what most people didn't know about me is that, yes, I loved the game of basketball and just like that feeling of winning, but I was more so a teacher of alignment, of being able to manifest something based on a soul intention, which is why before he departed, he had these other things that he was doing, like creating, he's showing me, like, I think this book that he authored, but it was for children, and it was about the Mamba mentality. You see, he's saying this Mamba mentality is being in alignment with pure source. And when you're in alignment with pure source, that is when that fuel and that drive and that relentlessness kicks in. That's going to power you through any experience in your life. literally any experience in your life. So he's showing me some of you have questions about why he passed away the way he passed away. You have, okay, this is interesting. I feel the spirit of Tupac is here as well. Sometimes you have these teachers who go out in a very dramatic way, in a very abrupt way, to really get your attention. Like, he's showing me if he would have lived this life where he would have, got old and, passed away and whatever, the legacy and the impact and the appreciation for his resilience and what he represented wouldn't have been appreciated at the same level. It's like really getting people's attention. I'm also feeling, oh guys, like so many souls coming in now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Twitch, who was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance, and apparently committed suicide. I think this was like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. So I have Twitch, I have Kobe, I have Tupac. They're all here. And because similarly, the way that they went out was to get your attention, was to get you to see something, was to get you to also, appreciate every single day of this existence, that it can end tomorrow like that. Tomorrow, any one of us can go do something that we perceive to be harmless and normal, and we can die. And it's not scary. It's not a bad thing. We choose to go out in certain ways. It's all intentional, but honoring every single moment. And also, each of these three souls, what they have in common, they're showing me too, is that they were committed and dedicated to something bigger than themselves, which is why they made the most of their life. So if you're going through life with zero devotion, zero commitment, zero intention, you're just kind of like floating, you're thinking that you have all this time, when in reality, they're showing me like this is a very small window of opportunity to use all of your soul's energy and intelligence and creativity to do something, to contribute to the collective, to really do something. If you could start waking up in the morning and remembering, I don't really have that long here, would you do things differently? How many of you would just start waking up and treating your body better, making better decisions, following that goal or that purpose, this thing that you want to do that you're, putting off, or that you're believing, I'm going to wait another year. Don't wait another year. You might not have another year. Who knows? And someone says they all seem to respect some divine feminines. Yes, that is also a piece of divine masculine energy that they were here embodying. They were all divine masculine teachers. Let me just see what they're talking about. They're like having so much fun with this because they don't get a chance often, really, if ever, to come through in this way from the other side, from like this crystal clear perspective after reviewing the life that they have lived. And what they're explaining is that when you cross over and you examine your life and you look at, all of the decisions that you could have made and the things that you could have you could have done. One of them, it's not from a place like our egos where we judge ourselves and it's like, I wish I would have done that, because on that side, they're saying they could just kind of play it out and experience it as if it happened. But you recognize how much time you either wasted or how much more you could have experienced, how much more you could have made out of your gifts, your talents, your skills. And, really as a soul, you have been architected with this very unique blueprint. It's like source they're showing me like source as an orb of light, and then pulling out of itself this ball of light, which would be you and your soul, and then encoding it with like all of these intricate details and things, and then just sending it off to just create from that unique architect and blueprint. So when you're here, what happens is that because we are living in the 3D dense duality matrix earth game simulation, Things happen on a daily basis that drowns out that original spark that we had as children. You know, when you were a kid and someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And when you said you wanted to be a basketball player or a firefighter or an actress or whatever, you meant that with your heart and soul, that that's what you wanted to do. You really wanted to do that because you knew there were no limitations and possibilities, and then or limitations or limits on what you can create. And you went through life with adults and people who have been programmed and conditioned to believe certain things. And at this point, the Matrix has stripped them of their creativity and their God spark. And then they imprinted that on you and they told you, you know, go get a real job or go get a real degree or, you know, do things that are responsible, do things that are realistic. You're not here to do things that are realistic. Being realistic keeps you in the same reality. If you want to quantum leap into a new reality, you would actually have to be unrealistic, meaning you would have to think outside of the lines of the current reality that you're seeing and experiencing. All three of these beings were unrealistic, totally unrealistic, but they were driven by their heart, the passion, the devotion, the connection to a bigger purpose. And I can personally relate to this. Times in my life where I felt like I was at rock bottom and everything was just going horribly wrong. Deep, deep, deep inside, I knew, because Source had shown me this many, many times. I knew this experience is serving as a higher purpose, not just for myself, but for every other person that I will share this with. And the person that it's making me into be right now. And so I love this experience. I'm thankful for this moment of mastery. That's living from your heart and living from your soul and not letting the density of this place strip you of your God spark. All of them also have something in common. As passionate and what we would say successful that they were and are, they also had a hidden shadow side of self-doubt at times, pressure. You know, if you feel like you're here to really share a lot, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And in those moments of pressure, you have low vibrational beings. What are they going to do? Oh, I see he or she is having a moment of weakness. Let me amplify that thought. Specifically, Twitch is showing me this with him. Beings coming in and seeing all of this light, all of this joy, but then using the moments of pain and amplifying that to the point that it becomes overwhelming. And most light workers actually have double the amount of negative entities and beings trying to catch them slipping. Why? Because they're here to help a lot of people. They don't want you to climb out of that hole. This is why when people start awakening and they start tuning into this freedom and the possibility of what they can create, then it seems like things start going wrong or things get difficult and things get challenging. But what's actually happening is you're vibrating high. It's like a light in a dark room, and all of these beings, they just see that. And they gravitate and they go, how can we keep this person in this same karmic cycle that's been playing out on this planet for thousands of years? So when things get rough, when things get difficult, the purpose, the devotion, the commitment to being your highest self and getting everything you can out of this experience is going to overpower the ego and the negative shadow beings who are here to test you. It's also a part of their sacred divine role. They've literally been created to do that. So we don't have to be angry with them. We don't have to be upset. It's just they're doing their divine duty to challenge us. You know, that's why when you come to when you come to a school like Earth, these beings exist to give you the level of contrast, and they're showing me like interpersonal strength that you need before you can elevate into higher realms. The more you see that as just a part of the mastery package that you signed up for, you reclaim more of your power. as opposed to being in that victim frequency. Another thing that all of these three men are sharing with us, and this is mainly coming from Tupac, is turning pain into power. He's showing me like having a crack addicted mother, living in the hood, not being able to pay rent, wanting to go to college and do certain things, but I'm 17 or 18. I can't focus on that. I have to focus on how are we going to survive. Even within all of that, the love, he's really like an angelic energy. The love overpowered the pain. The love overpowered the matrix. The love overpowered the conditionings and the programs. And that's why people connected to him. And he's saying that's why so many different people loved me. All of these three people share the same thing. So for those of you who are just channeling, I have the spirit of Twitch, who recently passed away, the spirit of Kobe Bryant, and the spirit of Tupac. And what they're showing me is like this, why they had such a global audience of people who loved and adored them, like this, being universal examples and teachers, is because of that love vibration. We can all connect to that love vibration. We can just feel it resonate in our entire being, that it's reminding us of home, something about home. Even if we don't remember what home is, we don't know what that place feels like, just pure joy and bliss and connection and love and serenity. These beings are exuding something that is real, that is beyond money, that is beyond being able to be bought, that is beyond able to be manipulated into doing certain things. So they're sharing all of this, they're saying, to remind you, because all three of them died prematurely. They're just highlighting that. You don't have a lot of time in this place. And this is why subconsciously they were all trying to do as much as they possibly could, because the soul contract was always going to be that they were going to have a dramatic departure so people could learn from their life. You don't have a lot of time. It goes by like this. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to use your God source spark, not only to create at your highest capacity and get all of that source genius out of you into the world so we all can revel in it, but what are you going to do to empower the collective so that generations after us are not playing out the same illusions? It's bigger than you. So that is their message for today. Literally this just happened like 10 minutes before I hopped on, where they were first Kobe popped in, and then as I was channeling, Tupac and Twitch popped in, and it's actually crazy because I see the similarities between all of their contracts right now. And they're assisting some of you personally if you feel like you've been stagnant. You can't figure out why this the energy needed to take massive action is not present in your life. But that's because on a soul level something hasn't quite clicked into place for you. And whichever one of them you resonate with most, they're inviting you to welcome in that energy to assist you. And I feel Tupac with one more thing that he's saying. That's hilarious. I'm not going to say that. I'll tell you guys what he said, but he's just being funny. And he's like, yeah, one more thing. Fuck the system. He's being funny though, right? As in like the illusion of something out there that could actually possibly stop us, or could actually possibly ever take away our godhood of who we really are. So I love you guys. This was amazing. Thank you for being in this moment with us together. Much love, guys.